Then let's see. This is 14. Here it is. Okay, let's see. Is Asine Schuppenfeld, Gaston, Alejandro here? Okay, no. Espinosa Figueroa, Josué?
Here.
Okay. Peralta, Valeria? Okay, not here. Prado, Gamboa, Daniel?
Daniela, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. Daniela. Okay, thank you. Rolano, Herrera, Ana Karen?
Present, teacher.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Saavedra, Espinosa, Andrea? Okay, not here. Now we're going to check the other course. I think this is our course. Okay, Cabrera, Segarra, Nathaniel? Not here. Gomez, Choque, Freddy, Felix? Not here. Hoyos, Mauricio? Not here. Montes de Oca, Machicao, Diego?
Here, teacher.
Okay. Oliveira, Flavia? Not here. And finally, Urbina, Andrea? Not here. Okay. Who have just arrived? Who have just joined the session? Who was the last person who joined the session? Please tell me. I am calling the attendance.
Me, Andrea Saavedra.
Okay, thank you for telling me. You are, okay, you are not in this list. Okay, you are in this list, I think. Okay, you are Saavedra Espinosa Andrea, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Okay, we're going to start with the exercises then. Be ready, okay? Passage number 1, passage number 2. Okay, that's it. Here it is. Before we start, guys, before we start listening to the recording, this listening exercise contains some keywords that you need to know, okay? The keywords for this exercise are the following: carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases. Do you understand? Do you know the meaning of these words? Guys, tell me.
You need to say, do we say in Spanish or?
Okay, don't worry, tell me the Spanish. Do you know the meaning of the word? Yes or no?
The first, yes. The second, I am not sure.
Okay, greenhouse gases are related to, okay, I'm gonna say the meaning in Spanish, okay? Efecto de gases de invernadero.
Can you repeat, please, teacher, what means?
Greenhouse gases. Son los gases de invernadero, podría decirse. Ese tipo de gases que contaminan el ambiente, tal vez.
Ah, okay, okay.
Efecto invernadero, le dicen algunos también. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. What about the rest, guys? Andrea, Daniela, Diego, do you know the meaning of these words?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so with those words in mind, please take your notes while you listen, okay? We're going to start. Have at hand a piece of paper and
No,
a
listen
pen.
to part of the talk.
Can
in
you
the biology
hear,
class.
guys? It is really important for me to know that you can hear.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
Okay, guys, thank you. If there is any problem, I don't know, whatever that may happen to you, connection problems and sound problems, echo, I don't know, please let me know so that I can find a solution, okay? Let's start.
Now listen, it's part of a talk in a biology class.
All right, now a common misconception about global climate change, commonly referred to as global warming, is that if we experience an unusually hot day in this area alone, then it's evidence of climate change. I just want to take a second to make it clear that changes in local weather is a weather-related event, not a climate-related one. Climate refers to the long-term, predictable atmospheric conditions of a specific area, not the conditions of a day or even a week for that matter. Weather refers to the conditions of the atmosphere during a short period of time. Weather forecasts are usually made in 48-hour cycles and are more concerned with daily and hourly predictions. Yes, Henry?
So you're saying that climate has more to do with seasonal changes. For example, like the difference between summer and winter in New York, while weather is more about the conditions outside today or tomorrow.
That's right, Henry. So now that we have established exactly what we mean by climate, let me ask you about the causes of climate change. I mentioned them in the last class.
Well, we started by talking about the Industrial Revolution, which began in the early 1800s. And that's when most of society started burning fossil fuels like oil and coal. And those fuels release a bunch of carbon dioxide into the air. And when there's more carbon dioxide in the air, more of the sun's energy gets trapped in the atmosphere. So the climate of the Earth warms.
Perfect, Jessica. Maybe I should have you teach the class. So yes, most of us know about the harmful effects of the burning of fossil fuels and the release of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But what causes climate change? There are two more. Henry?
I know one is solar intensity, and the other, I think, has something to do with volcanoes? Or I can't remember exactly.
Well, like you said, the intensity of the sun does change, believe it or not. Changes in the amount of heat from the sun has been proposed as one explanation for past climate events. And the third you're thinking of is volcanic eruptions.
Ah, that's right. I remember now. The gases released during an eruption can change the climate over a period of a few years. But this type of climate change is usually just short term, right?
Right. Now, let's get back to fossil fuels. As Jessica mentioned, increased amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are usually released through the burning of fossil fuels. Make no mistake, what may sometimes be reported in the media as debatable, there is no debate among scientists as to whether or not climate change is due to human activity. True, the strength of the sun's rays and the eruption of volcanoes can play a role, but there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that human activity, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, is to blame for the rise in global temperatures. And we are now starting to see the tremendous impact global warming is having on our environment. Between 2002 and 2006, Greenland lost almost 200 kilometers worth of glaciers. And as the glaciers melt around the globe, the sea levels rise, which threatens the coastal life of humans and the marine life of aquatic species. Now, many organisms on land are also being affected by the changes in climate. Temperature and rainfall play key roles in determining the geographic distribution of plants and animals. For example, researchers have shown that 385 plant species in England are flowering 5 days sooner than usual. In addition, insect species that pollinate and rely on these flowers are now arriving sooner than in previous decades. This mismatched timing of plants and insects could result in the loss of both species in the area. Small changes in the atmosphere have already made a big impact on species that rely on specific weather conditions. Most think of polar bears and their disappearing homeland of snow and ice. But this is just one of the many organisms threatened by global climate change, and that includes us humans.
Now, answer the question.
Okay, guys, I hope everybody understood. Now we're going to start with the questions, okay? Okay, before we start, please, I think one person has just joined the session. Who is he or she? So that I can check his or her attendance. Please tell me. Okay, Gaston, are you there? Gaston, can you hear me?
Teacher, you can hear me? Teacher.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Thank you. I'm gonna check your attendance, okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you. I'm sorry I'm late.
Do not worry. Let's go to the questions now, okay? Here it is. Here they are. Okay. There you have the first three questions, okay? In this, you just have to match. If this is a cause, tick it or cross it, okay? You just have to choose one. Or if this is the effect, cause or tick this one, okay? That's it. You do not have to write anything on this question. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to answer these questions, okay? Up to 3. After that, we're going to continue with the rest of the questions. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
What about rest?
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Yes.
Now, let's start. Please. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to the next questions, okay? Okay, I'm gonna give you only 1 minute to answer question number 4. And then we will move on to questions number 5 and 6. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to questions number 5 and 6. Okay, to this question, please, I need you to listen carefully, okay? I'm gonna read the question for you. What is the professor implying when she says this? Listen carefully.
Perfect, Jessica. Maybe I should have you teach the class.
Now I'm gonna give you 1.5 minutes to answer these questions. Let's start. Okay, guys, time's up. Please, now, I want you to send your answers to the chat box of Zoom, okay? In only one message. Please, 30 seconds to do that. Okay, guys, I cannot see your answers. Can you hear me? Okay, there they are. Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Ana. Thank you, Daniela. Okay, there are 6 people in the class, so I am waiting for the 3 that are remaining. Okay, please send them to the chat box, okay? Now, we're going to check the answer key. Now, I'm gonna go to the answer key of this exercise, okay? It was number 2, I think. This is passive number 1, okay. This is the answer key. Guys, I'm gonna read the question and the options for you, okay? Let's see your answers for this question. Okay, B, 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 B. Okay, up to now, everybody has the correct answer, but you may be wondering why. Well, let's see. The question for this answer was, what is the professor mainly discussing? The main idea of the recording. Well, options: A, the pros and cons of climate change. Option B, the causes and effects of climate change. Letter C, how to prevent climate change. Letter D, what happens when we burn fossil fuels? Well, the main idea of this recording was letter B, right? Good job there. Now, please, Andrea, can you help me reading why, the explanation?
Number 1,
Yes.
we can eliminate A because pros indicates something positive, whereas the professor does not mention anything positive about climate change. We can eliminate C as well because the professor does not discuss how to prevent climate change, and we can eliminate D because it is just relevant to a small portion of the lecture.
Okay, thank you. Now, is it clear why B was the answer?
Yes.
What about the rest?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's see the chart now. This volcanic eruptions was a cause. Changes in rainfall was an effect. Burning fossil fuels was a cause. And finally, temperature changes was an effect. Let's see your answers. Okay, cause, effect. Good job, Josue. Okay, Andrea, cause, effect. Good job as well. Okay, I think everybody did a good job in this question. Excellent. Congratulations, guys. Now, let's go to question number 3 now, okay? The answers were letters C and D. I'm gonna read the question for you, okay? Let's see. The question was the following. What is the difference between weather and climate? You can choose 2 options. Letter C and D were the best answers, okay? Let's see. Letter C was, weather is more concerned with daily or hourly predictions. And D, climate refers to predictable long-term atmospheric conditions, okay? So now I want a person who can help me reading why. Okay. Let's see, I don't know. Josue, can you help me reading this?
Okay, teacher. Okay, number 3. CD detail. These questions force you to rely on your memory of what the professor says. Thus, you might be able to guess that climate definitely has to do with more long-term change than weather does. The professor explains the difference near the beginning of the lecture when he says, "Climate refers to the long-term, predictable atmospheric condition of a specific area, not the conditions of a day or even a week for that matter. Weather refers to the conditions of the atmosphere during a short period of time. Weather forecasts are usually made in 48-hour cycles and are more concerned with daily and hourly predictions."
Okay, now, is it clear why letters C and D were the best answers to this question, guys?
Yes.
Okay, let's see the questions that you had. Okay, A and C. Okay. Okay. Okay, Josue was almost there. Okay, and D. Okay, that's it. So, in this question, you were supposed to look for details, okay? Take notes on the details between the differences of weather and climate, okay? So be careful with that. Now, let's move on to question number 4. The answer was letter C. I'm gonna read the question for you, okay? According to the lecture, what is an example of the effects of climate change? I'm gonna tell you the options. Letter A, polar bears have taken over all the glaciers. Letter B, insects don't know when to pollinate flowers. C, a large amount of flowers are blooming sooner than usual. Letter D, many animals are searching for new homes. So, please, letter C was the answer. I want, Diego, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Can you read the explanation of why
Okay.
letter C is the option?
A and B might seem correct, but they are actually incorrect pieces of information that use words you heard in the lecture to try and confuse you. C is correct because the professor says, for example, researchers have shown that 385 plant species in England are flowering 5 days sooner than usual.
Okay, now be careful with this, okay? The options are going to, will get you confused, okay? Because they will be using words that you heard from the lecture, but actually they are not right answers, okay? So be careful with that. In this question, also, you were supposed to look for details, okay? Cause and effect, the consequence of something, okay? Be careful with that. Is it clear why letter C was the best answer to this question, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let's move on to question number 5 then. Okay, letter C. It was about inferring, okay? Something that is implied. Let's see, the question was the following. What is the professor implying when she says this? Please be careful, listen carefully.
Perfect, Jessica. Maybe I should have you teach the class.
Okay, that was a recording. Now I'm gonna read the options. Letter A, she would rather have Jessica teach the class. Letter B, she thinks Jessica knows more than she does. Letter C, she's emphasizing that Jessica knows a lot of information. Letter D, she is annoyed that Jessica knows the answers and he doesn't. Okay, what was the answer for this question? Letter C, okay? Please, Andrea, Saavedra, are you there?
Yes.
Can you help me reading why letter C is the best option?
Okay. We can eliminate A and D almost immediately because these situations just are not likely to happen and D is a bit too negative to reflect North American teaching values. B is also unlikely to be the case, as professors in universities are normally very knowledgeable and have extensive experience in their field. C is correct because Jessica just spoke and said lots of correct information. So the professor is making a joke to emphasize that Jessica just accurately gave the class good information.
Okay, let's see now your answers. Okay, good job, Josue. Good job, Diego. Okay, Ana Karen, you need to work on that a little bit. Good job, Daniela. Good job, Josue, again. Okay, Andrea, you need to take, you need to infer a little bit more, okay? Because you need to infer from what you are hearing. Let's listen again so that you can understand.
Perfect, Jessica. Maybe I should have you teach the class.
Okay. Did she sound something negative or positive?
Positive.
Positive, right? So based on that, we can infer from the questions, from the answers, sorry. So letter C was the best one. Why? Because it says, she's emphasizing that Jessica knows a lot of information. Okay, that's it. It is something really positive for her. Okay. Now, is it clear why letter C was the best answer to this question, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
What
Yes,
about the
teacher.
rest? Okay, thank you. Now, let's move on to question number 6 then. I'm going to read it for you. And then we're going to practice with another exercise. Number 6. What does the professor imply about the role of human activity in climate change? I'm going to read the options. Letter A. Humans are definitely largely responsible for climate change. B. We should listen to what the media says about human activity and climate change. Letter C. Human activity is possibly part of the problem. Letter D. The media purposely tries to confuse people about issues. What was the answer for this question? Letter A, okay? Humans are definitely largely responsible for climate change. Now, let's see your answers. Okay. Okay, job. Okay, most of you chose the best option, but some of you didn't. Why? Let's see. I don't know. Daniel, are you there?
Yes.
Please, can you read?
Okay. Based on the professor's words and attitude, we can figure out that A is the correct answer. He says, make no mistake, what may sometimes be reported in the media as debatable. There is no debate among scientists as to whether or not climate change is due to human activity. Although he doesn't say explicitly that humans have a large role, he does say that the natural changes, such as volcanic eruptions and solar intensity, are just a small part of the problem.
Okay, so what is this explanation telling you? Well, something that was not explicit in the recording. The professor didn't say that humans were the cause, the main cause of this all climate change, but she did it in other words by saying there is no debate among scientists as to whether or not climate changes is due to human activity. Okay? So be careful with that, okay? Inference. You have to infer from what you hear, okay? It is important. use what you, use your knowledge, okay? So that you can understand all the things you listen in a better way. And answer this kind of question the best way possible, okay, guys? Now, let me ask you, is it clear why letter A was the best answer for this question?
Yes.
What about the rest?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Okay, we're going to move on to another exercise, okay? Let's move on. Let's go there. Okay, here it is. Okay, before we start, please look at these words. Do you know the meaning of them? Meteorite falls, meteorite finds, irons, stones, stony irons. Do you know the meaning of these words? Guys, I need to know. Do you know? Yes or no?
Teacher,
What is
can
stony
you
irons?
Okay, please, can you repeat that?
What is the meaning of stony irons?
Stony irons, okay. Iron is metal in Spanish, right? Okay. Stones, similar to rocks, something similar, okay? Rocas, piedras, right? Now, stony irons, metales, both of them, a combination of both. Iron and stone, una combinación de ambas. Metal que puede sentirse como roca, una combinación de ambos. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any other question?
No, teacher.
Okay.
No, teacher.
Okay, thank you. Now we can start then. Let's go. Okay, here is the. Okay. Listen carefully, okay?
Now listen to part of the talk in an astronomy class. Okay, so I'm sure you all know what meteors are, right? Those bright shooting stars in the sky that sometimes pass through the atmosphere and land here on Earth as hot rocks. Well, these alien rocks go on quite a journey to make it here. You see, these meteors start off as comets from other areas in space. The ice in these comets melt when they get close to the sun, which breaks apart and sprays millions of tons of rock and dust into the solar system. As each of the larger dust and rock particles enters the Earth's atmosphere, it creates a brief fiery trail that is often called a shooting star, but is properly known as a meteor. Since the particles move at speeds of many kilometers per second, friction with the air vaporizes them at an altitude of between 80 and 130 kilometers. The resulting flash of light fade out within a few seconds. To be visible, these shooting stars, or meteors, must be within about 200 kilometers of the observer. On a typical dark and moonless night, you can see up to 6 meteors per hour, maybe more. Now, I don't know about you, but witnessing a shooting star is really a magical feeling. Anyway, the typical meteor is produced by a particle with the mass of less than 1 gram, no larger than a pea. How can we see such a small particle? The light you see comes from the much larger region of heated, glowing gas surrounding this little grain of material. Because of its high speed, the energy in a pea-sized meteor is greater than a bullet being fired by a gun on Earth. But as I'm sure you all know, these shooting stars, these meteors, sometimes land on the ground. Meteorites are pretty much found in 2 ways. First, are meteorite falls. Sometimes bright meteors or fireballs are observed to penetrate the atmosphere and find their way to the Earth's surface. The 2013 Chelyabinsk fireball in Russia produced tens of thousands of small meteorites, many of them easy to find because these dark stones fell on snow. People sometimes discover unusual looking rocks that turn out to be meteoric. These rocks are termed meteorite finds, the second way meteors are found. Since the 1980s, Meteorite finds in the Antarctic have dramatically increased our knowledge of space and its materials. More than 10,000 meteorites have been recovered from the Antarctic as a result of the motion of the ice in some parts of that continent. Meteorites that fall in regions where ice accumulates are buried and then carried slowly to other areas where the ice is gradually worn away. After thousands of years, the rock again finds itself on the surface, along with other meteorite carried to these same locations. The meteorites in our collections have a wide range of compositions and histories, but traditionally they have been placed into three broad classes. First are the irons, composed of nearly pure metallic nickel iron. The second are the stones, the term used for any rocky meteorite. The third are the rarer stony irons, made, as the name implies, of mixtures of stone and metallic iron. Of these three types, the irons and stony irons are the most obviously extraterrestrial because of their metallic content. Pure iron almost never occurs naturally on Earth. Therefore, if you ever come across a chunk of metallic iron, it is sure to be either man-made or a meteorite. The stones are much more common than the irons, but more difficult to recognize. Often, laboratory analysis is required to demonstrate that a particular sample is really of extraterrestrial origin, especially if it has lain on the ground for some time and been subject to weathering. The most scientifically valuable stones are those collected immediately after they fall, or the Antarctic samples preserved in a nearly perfect state by the ice.
Okay, guys, I hope you understood. Now it is time to answer some questions, okay? Let's go. There you have 4 questions. Please, I'm gonna give you only 4 minutes to answer, okay? That's it. On question number 4, please let me know that after 3 minutes, I'm going to play this recording, okay? So that you can answer this question. 3 minutes to answer these questions. And then we're going to start with number 4. Go on, please. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to question number 4, okay? Please listen carefully. I'm gonna read the question for you. Number 4. What is the professor implying when he says this? Listen carefully, okay?
Of these three types, the irons and stony irons are the most obviously extraterrestrial because of their metallic content.
Okay. Let's answer. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to answer this question. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to the final questions, okay?
Teacher,
Tell me.
sorry, 1 second. Can you only show again the first question because I erased my answer?
Okay, there it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, 15 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
And after that, I'm gonna scroll down to questions number 5 and 6. Please, hurry up. Okay, guys. Let's move on to questions number 5 and 6. There you have. You just have, in this question, number 5, please, you just have to tick, okay? You do not have to write anything on this chart. If stones are easy to spot as meteorites when found on Earth, tick it, okay? If not, do not write anything. Okay, guys? 2 minutes from now.
Okay.
Okay, guys, time's up. Now, let me ask you this, please. In this document that I am showing you now, you will find 4 extra exercises that you can practice with, okay? Apart from that, you will find the answer keys and their explanations, okay? And also how you are going to be evaluated, okay? This document includes a lot of useful information for you to take into account at the moment of taking the TOEFL test. Now, my question is, do you want me to send this document to you so that you can use it to practice and see what the listening section of the TOEFL test is about?
Please, teacher.
Yes, please.
Please, teacher.
Okay, so since I'm going to send this document to you to the WhatsApp group, please, the exercise that we did now is exercise number 3, okay? You can check all your answers in the answer key, okay? There you will find the explanations, the evaluations, and all those details that this section of the test is going to include, okay, guys? So I hope you find it really useful, okay? And take it to your advantage to get the best score possible in the TOEFL test. Okay, guys?
Okay, teacher.
Okay,
Thank you.
now
Okay.
we're going to stop here now. As always, please, I would really appreciate you complete this daily survey, and after that, you can leave, okay? Thanks for attending, thanks for participating, and see you next class, okay? Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
Teacher,
teacher.
excuse me.
Bye, teacher.
And the audio for this practice.
You will find a link in this document that will redirect
Okay,
you
okay,
to the
teacher.
audio. Do not worry about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Do not worry. You're welcome.
Thank you,
Bye,
teacher.
teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Bye,
Bye-bye. Take
teacher.
care.
Yes.